Hello everybody, this is the Stormy Poet coming to you live from Haltom City. Very sorry that I have not posted in a while. I have been working on multiple projects. Some many of you may know about, many of you may not know about. But basically I've just been working on like 3 books at the same time. So my apologies, I was not trying to take no kind of like real long hiatus, but I need to do that to get this work done. But how's everybody doing out there? I hope you're doing well. If you're not, please feel free to email me. I accept all emails. I love talking with my followers, and I'm a big believer in if you're not doing well, tell somebody. So if you want to tell me, I'm a safe space for any kind of reason, any kind of issue. I'm at T.S.P at thestormypoet.com. So feel free to reach out to me. My websites, if you want to take a visit to my body of work, are thestormypoet.com, and then I also have my rootofalllove.com website where I talk about relationship issues while factoring in racism and misogyny, how those are interconnected. But what I wanted to talk about tonight was an issue that a lot of men deal with and a lot of men suffer in silence with, and it's a tragedy because, you know, it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be where men are hush-hush about it or living in silence and suffering in silence about it. It doesn't make you any less of a man. And that's why I wanted to talk about erectile dysfunction, and which is synonymous with that, premature ejaculation. Now, you won't hear a lot of relationship guidance personalities talk about this. And the reason why is because, you know, if you talk about this type of issue or, you know, break this down, you get labeled as gay, or, you know, you get labeled as somebody who's, you know, you shouldn't talk about that sort of thing, that's not manly. Here's the thing. The thing is, we live in a society where that's been made to be kind of taboo. It shouldn't be taboo. There's nothing unmanly. Like, what kind of evidence can anybody present to me that talking about these issues is an unmanly thing? What evidence and data and information can you present to me that you having these issues makes anybody less of a man? You see, because in our society, it's often seen as the, and I'm gonna get grown up and adult if I may, it's often seen as what makes you a man is in your penis. And that's just simply not true. There's other aspects that make a man, as far as him being a defender, as far as him being a spiritual leader, as far as him being the emotional ground wire to the family unit. That's another podcast for another day. But a man's ability to, quote unquote, get it up, or his lack thereof, this doesn't define fully what makes him a man. That's just something society has constructed for a man. So let's dive deep into it. Let's dive deep into it for sure. So, if you're a man who's out there who suffers from ED, erectile dysfunction, or PE, premature, I'm messing my words up, premature ejaculation, which means that you ejaculated sooner than you wanted to, and sooner than your partner wanted to, in order to please them. Let's be real specific here. So let's break down the numbers, because a lot of men are afraid to talk about it. A lot of men are scared, and it shouldn't be that way. If you're a male, you're a human being. Things go wrong with human beings from time to time. There's nothing wrong with that. So the fact that so many males are ashamed about that, or ashamed to talk about that, that's the first problem, but we'll get into that later. Let me get into some statistics if you think you're alone in your agony. So the first statistic I'm going to get into, which was produced by WebMD.com, the research that I did, is erectile dysfunction affects an estimated 18 million men in the U.S. alone. That's 18 million men who experience that. ED is also associated with getting older, although ED's frequency does increase with age. It's treatable regardless of your age and isn't as inevitable as you might think. Basically what they're saying on WebMD.com is that although, typically when you get older, your libido and your stamina goes down. That's natural. But not as much as you would think. You feel me? Like, I've read of couples where both the male and the female were in their 60s and 70s, and they still have a very active sex life. It's still very passionate. So let's get these stigmas about when you turn 30, everything ends, you get old, you get gray, your sex drive goes down. Let's just, these stigmas are part of the problem. We adhere and we uphold ourselves to certain stigmas, certain standards that are just unrealistic, because people, as this study portrayed, people still have active and healthy sex lives well and above their 60s. Sex doesn't stop. Healthy sex with your lover doesn't stop once you hit 50 or once you hit 40 or 30 or whatever you've been told. That's just not true. In fact, ED can have many causes not associated with aging, which is what the article says. There are many physical causes of ED. Any one of these can disrupt the sequence of physiological changes that produces an erection. And these are the following: obesity, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, low testosterone, enlarged prostate, sleep disorders such as sleep apnea, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's disease. Now let me touch on that testosterone for a minute, because that's very important. A lot of men are seeking testosterone therapy in order to deal with their ED or PE. Now, and I encourage you to do your own research on this. If you don't believe me, the research I've done has revealed that that's not really a successful and healthy long-term solution to having these issues. There are complications that come with testosterone therapy. Testosterone therapy is not a natural way of dealing with aging, nor is it a natural way or a successful way with dealing with these particular issues. So if you're thinking of going to these clinics, I encourage you to do your research. I'm going to put links in the description of the video that basically say that are articles that go against that this is some type of long-term chronic way of dealing with these issues, and they're not healthy. So I don't encourage anybody to go and get this type of therapy, because it's just not a constructive long-term solution. I listen to a sports station here in Dallas. It's a local sports station, 105.3 The Fan, and they have all types of advertisements during their little commercial spots that promote these kind of establishments. And in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, like, these people don't even know what they're getting involved in. These men don't even know what they're getting involved in. And the thing is, you don't need to go spend all that money, and the thing is, you don't need to spend all that time and energy with these the methods these organizations have in place. You can do things naturally. You can do things that are practical. You understand? So, if you have any of these issues I named, whether it be obesity, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, high cholesterol, low testosterone, enlarged prostate, sleep disorders, sleep apnea, multiple sclerosis, or Parkinson's disease, you need to consult with your doctor, with a professional, about how you can still maintain maintain a healthy sex life, if you will, dealing with these issues. You know, don't go get testosterone therapy. That is probably not the best answer for you. And judging off the results men have had using this type of therapy, they've not been good. Go research them yourself. I'll give you the link in the description, and I highly encourage you to do it that way. To investigate yourself and to come to your own conclusion. Now let's get into premature ejaculation. Now, there are two types of premature ejaculation. One of those types is lifelong primary. Lifelong premature ejaculation occurs all or nearly all the time, beginning with your first sexual encounter. So basically what that means is that it's something that's just, you've inherited. It's genetic. That's just how you are. That's just how you're built physically. And that's just how your body operates. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being that way. That's what men have to understand. There's nothing wrong with being like that. It's just you're different. If you've been with a female that you're devoted to, and she turns you on, and she arouses you, and y'all about to do what it do, and you come within the first 5 seconds of being aroused, that's not your fault. That's not your fault. Like, that's how your body was built. That's how you exist. Stop blaming yourself for that. Now, there are things you can do to deal with that, and I'll get into those later. But let me get into the secondary premature ejaculation issue. Acquired, which means acquired premature ejaculation develops after you have had previous sexual experiences without any ejaculation problems. So what that means is that it's not a regular thing for you. It just kind of recently occurred. That has all types of has the potential to have all types of causes. There could be a number of factors that lead to that, which I'll get into later. But let's dive right deep into it. Firstly, let's talk about some solutions. Let's talk about how we can deal with this and cope and compensate with this if you're dealing with this or suffering from erectile dysfunction. I'm going to go over that first and foremost before I go over PE. Now, let's talk about how to treat erectile dysfunction. Well, the first thing is, and I've researched this, and I can speak from experience. When you're in physical shape, when you are fit, when you're working out on a consistent basis, this helps. This goes a long way with that. And let me just go ahead and put myself out here as the sacrificial lamb. I've had experiences with both of these issues. I've had experiences where, I arrived, if you will, too quickly. I've had experiences where I couldn't get it up. I mean, that's just a part of being a human being male. That's going to happen. I'm speaking from experience. So this is just not me, telling you about what I've learned in research. This is about from experience. So I can tell you as somebody who can relate to you if you're going through this, I can relate to you on that. You can relate to me. So I'm not perfect. I've had off days. I've had off nights. I've had plenty of fails. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. And that's why I'm telling you, it is treatable as a success story myself. But the first thing I want to get into is in regards to how we deal with erectile dysfunction is getting in shape. As a person who's dealt with that, getting in shape is crucial. That has to do with blood flow, that has to deal with testosterone levels, that has to deal with all the inner workings that allow your genitalia, if you will, to work properly. Getting in shape is very important. When you get in shape, you improve every bodily function, whether it be digestion, whether it be thinking, whether it be energy levels, whether it be whatever. You improve everything, including sex drive, including how you perform, including your arousal and your erections. That's very important. So getting in shape is just important overall for overall good health in general. You dig? Alright, moving right along here. And this kind of ties into the health piece. But you are what you eat. I can't stress how important it is to eat healthy if you want to have a healthy, I'm being redundant, I know, but if you want to have a passionate and robust sex life with your lover, eating healthy is super, super, super important. Let me break that down for you real quick. Okay. Omega-3s are your best friend. Dudes, males, men, omega-3s are the best thing you can take. Let me tell you why. When it comes to omega-3s, healthy fats that you can find in fish, that you can find in olive oil, you can find it in supplements, you can find it in avocados, fruits like that. Omega-3, what it does is your body absorbs it, and the agents in that molecule, those fatty molecules, what they basically do is they kind of stick to your blood vessels. And what that does is that kind of lubricates your blood vessels. All your blood transporting organs, it lubricates that. It makes it easier for blood to flow. Makes it easier for blood to flow to your nether regions. It makes it easier for it to flow to your eyes. It makes it easier for it to flow to your brain. Your brain is basically all fat, by the way. It's all fat. Your brain needs fat to function. So forget the demonization of fat. It's all about eating the right fats, and it's all about eating plenty of them. And by the way, omega-3s are very good for your heart. The more blood getting to your heart, the better. Now let's take it back to the sexual realm. Okay? So in the sexual sense, the more blood flow, arousal, erections are all about blood flow. The more blood flow going down there, the better. And not only does that mean stronger erections, because that organ basically fills with blood, it also means a higher sensitivity to stimulation. The more blood, the better in all areas of everything in life. But when we're talking about intercourse, that's increasing stimulation. You want that. That's what helps you maintain erections with your lover. So moving right along here, one way to help cope with erectile dysfunction is chill out on the self-pleasure. And fellas, y'all know what I mean. Y'all know exactly what I mean. Chill out with that self-pleasure. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say that word. I'm going to try to keep it as PC as possible. But the thing is, the more you do that, the less sensitive you make your organ down there. So if you wonder why your sex life with your wife is kind of stagnant, that might have something to do with it. If you're trying to spice up your sex life, stop watching all that porn, all that nonsense, and stop downloading all them females' pictures and stop pleasuring yourself. And I told somebody who emailed me recently this. They're like, hey, how can I spice up my sex life? And I said, all right, first of all, stop masturbating for like a month. Damn it, I used the word. Oh well. Stop pleasuring yourself for a month. And stop watching all, not even just porn, but stop watching all sexual arousing things. Period. Whether it be books, whether it be 50 Shades of Grey, anything that gets you aroused, stop indulging in. Whether it be Fast and Furious, I often use Fast and Furious because we often like to talk about what kind of media and what kind of entertainment is sexist and promoting misogyny, but we don't want to talk about Fast and Furious, which promotes that shit 24/7. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, if you stop doing that and you just completely stop being sexual, that tension is going to build up in you. That energy, that sexual energy is going to build up to the point where you are going to have your wife or your girlfriend or your lover. Your erections will come back because that's natural sex. It's natural for you to be in a situation where you're faithful and where you're with one person and you just let that energy build up because you're supposed to be with that one person. And whether y'all morally agree with that or not, whatever, I don't care. But if you let that energy build up, you will have the best sex life ever. And that's what I told this person. I said, hey, stop having sex for a month and see what happens. Y'all be all over each other. Y'all don't need multiple partners. Y'all don't need to go outside the relationship to find gratification. It's all within your relationship, your marriage, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. It's all there. You just need to chill out and stop engaging in it and immersing yourself in sexually arousing experiences. And that's anything, not even just adult films. There's a show that shows women in a derogatory way or men, and that's turning you on. You need to stop watching it. Period. As far as erectile dysfunction, the more you stay away from that stuff, the more sensitive you're going to be down there when it comes to the person you're actually devoted to. Yes, I'm dropping some game. So moving right along here, as far as erectile dysfunction, as far as treating that, get right with yourself. If you can't get it up, fellas, you need to ask yourself, what am I uncomfortable about as far as who I am and myself? Do I not think I'm attractive enough? If you're in the bedroom and you're about to do what it do, and you can't get it up, what's going through your head then? What do you think about yourself? What is your self-confidence like? Is there something you feel wrong about within yourself? You see, the penis is not men like to think of it as just its own organ in and of itself. It's just its own thing and it does whatever it does, and it's its own entity. That's BS. The brain controls the penis. What's going on in the penis is all psychological. It's all in your head. So you have to fix the psychological piece before you can ever, achieve you can never achieve what you want to achieve in the bedroom. So you need to check that first at the door. You need to say, hey, if I'm not getting it up, why? What's wrong with me? And a lot of the times, a lot of times why men can't get it up, it's just self-sabotage, basically. Some self-hating bullshit that don't even make no sense. So a lot of times why men can't get up is they're like, oh, I'm scared that I'm not going to perform the way I need to perform, or I don't deserve to have this woman. I don't deserve this. And what if she notices, my mole on my thigh? A lot of times men worry about dumb stuff. A lot of times men are just scared of dumb, meaningless crap that women don't even really recognize. They just don't. But we psych ourselves out. What about that last time, I couldn't get it up for so-and-so. What if that happens again? We psych ourselves out. And so you have to do some self-inventory and say, okay, what am I not comfortable about myself? You need to handle that before you're intimate with any woman that you like. Real talk. So, to move right along here, another thing I would tell men, if you can't get it up, don't do things you're not cool with sexually. If a woman asks you to do something and you're not cool with it and you do it, that's going to just turn you off. That's a very common sense thing. That's going to turn you off. All right, if you're not cool with doing something, be honest about it. Say, hey, I'm not really cool with doing that. Women respect honesty. They might be a little salty that you don't want to do what they want to do, but they respect honesty above everything. If you're honest, women can respect that. Hey, I'm not cool with you, pulling out a switchblade and slitting my wrist, and that turns you. I'm not cool with that. I'm just not cool with that. I'm not cool with beating the shit out of you. I'm not cool with beating you with a meat cleaver, and masturbating. Now, I'm not cool with that. Be honest about it. Women can respect that. They might not want to mess with you no more. Oh well. At least you were honest. Women can respect that and let you know what the damn deal is. So don't do anything you're not cool with, because you're not gonna get aroused yourself. You're not gonna be sexually excited. So just flat out don't do that. Always be honest. Honesty is the best policy in all areas of life. That includes the bedroom. And my final point, as far as erectile dysfunction goes, is don't be afraid to seek counseling. Okay? Men don't like talking about issues because we've been trained by society to never talk about feelings and to talk about shortcomings, and to talk about areas where we're not perfect in. That's sick as hell, and that should not be the way things are. Period. Talking about these issues doesn't make you any less of a man. Talking about these issues is a very healthy part of becoming the type of man that can be in healthy relationships. Talking about these issues is manly, because you have the guts to say what's really up. And seeking counseling for it is nothing evil. That's a good thing. I remember a interview I saw when I had to have been 13, 14 years old, where this couple stopped having sex. They were fairly young. I think both of them were in their low 40s, basically. And they went to go get counseling. And based off them, they showed the woman erotic images, and they tested how much she got aroused. They tested the man and what he got aroused by. They tested, or they interviewed him rather, and they said, okay, how do you feel as the man? How do you feel as the woman in the relationship? They got behind the psychological factors of it. And the thing is, the woman felt like she wasn't the woman in the relationship. She felt like the dude was too submissive. And he didn't take charge, and he felt like he wasn't the man in that relationship. And then there were, of course, biological factors to that. But I think the woman was working at the time. He was still trying to find work, so he couldn't get it up. And, she wasn't feeling that whack-ass sex. So, yeah. They had to go to a counselor to kind of get to the root of the problem. And once they did that, they did some therapy for the woman. But once they got past the psychological factors, they were back to having a successful sexual relationship in their romantic situation. So we as men have to stop being like, this is evil. I can't ever talk about this. I have to suffer in silence. If I don't perform, I'm not a real man. Bull crap. That's a bunch of BS. If you're a man going through that, go and seek help. Go and seek counseling. There's nothing wrong with that. You are still a man. That does not define whether you're a man or not. You're a human being. And sometimes things go wrong with human beings. It's okay. Don't be ashamed about that. The more ashamed you are about it, the more negative situations you're going to have, like you've had with women, and where you can't get it up. You're going to put too much pressure on yourself. You're going to put too much pressure and anxiety that's just unneeded. Okay, so moving right along here, now let's get into PE, premature ejaculation. Now, this was interesting because I myself, learned some things about myself. Allow myself to introduce myself, like Austin Powers said. But I learned some things about myself that I didn't know, as it pertains to why I had some PE issues back in the day. Yeah, not with the woman I'm with now, but I learned I learned the reasoning behind that, and it was interesting because it's just like, dang, I wish I would have known about this stuff like years ago, because wow, it would have saved me a lot of trouble and heartache. But one thing I found very interesting, as it pertains to dealing with premature ejaculation, is something that should be practiced all across the board anyway. And it's very practical. Now, premature ejaculation, and let me give you the street term for that. Let me give you the layman's term for that. Is when that thing gets up on you and gets to feeling good, and you don't want to nut at that point. You're trying to put on a performance and put on a show, put on an act, and you're trying to please the one you care about, and that's important. I want to please the woman I'm with, for sure. Putting on a performance is very important, but when you're handling your business and you're another reason say it's time to arrive, you're like, no, don't yet, stop. And nature says, fuck you, I'm going to come right now, and we're going to have babies. That's the way this works. Stop. So that's the layman's terms. Now the technical term is you arrive, if you will, within the first minute, or they just touch you. Y'all hugging. I remember watching that show. I remember watching that show, Sex and the City, where I think the character Charlotte was with Trevor, and they just hugged and made out, and he came all over his pants just from doing that. I can't speak on those with those extreme issues, but if that's the case, then seek medical attention. Like, real talk, I don't know nothing about that. I'm just talking about general issues men have with that. So if you're going through that, seek professional help, and don't be afraid to. Don't be ashamed to. You didn't choose that on yourself. That's just what happened to you by nature. Nothing to feel bad about in that regard. regardless of what society tells you. But let me go over some just general ways you can contend with that. Now, this struck me as very odd, and I like this because it's very practical and it's also very constructive in the sense that you ain't trying to get women pregnant when you don't want to, and you're trying to protect yourself from different STDs. So the first tip I have to deal with that is wear protection. Now, the piece I read said if you wear protection, it kind of limits your sensitivity and your arousal and your stimulation because it's a condom, right? And that helps you last longer. I'm like, that's a good point. That's a real good point. If you're dealing with that, wear protection. You know what I'm saying? That just makes perfect sense. The less stimulation that you have, the longer you will last. That's awesome. I highly promote that. Like, yes. So if you're going through that, consider that. Ask yourself. I mean, if you're in a committed situation, and y'all are having unprotected sex, which means she's on birth control and whatever. Some people just have unprotected sex. Don't care what happens. But maybe that's the solution to that. Maybe you need to put a rubber on. Maybe that's why you keep coming so fast. Because, man, again, we've all been in that situation. That thing gets to filling up on you real good. And, oh, man. Mother Nature Mother Nature sets it up for us to arrive in a short amount of time, especially when we're not getting none on a regular basis. Here's the thing, and let me kind of get deep, if I will, into the science of it. Let's say you're not getting any on a regular basis as a male. Nature says, okay, this male is not procreating quick enough. So what nature has set it up for us to do is when we finally do get some, if we hadn't had none in a long time, is for us to come very quickly. Because nature says, okay, you're not mating enough, so the next time that you mate, I want you to come really quickly. Because, and back then there was danger, there was predators, all that kind of stuff. We're talking about the caveman talk. Whatever. But you need to come very quickly because I want you to have children. This is what nature said. I need you to do this very quickly. So that's nature's cruel joke. If you ain't had none in a long time, you're going to, and this is the primary form of PE. If you're not doing it, then we want you to arrive immediately. We're trying to make some babies. It's real deep. So that's why I say wear protection, and that leads me into my next point, is doing prep work. Now, if you're the type of cat who knows that, and this has been the situation with me in the past, okay, I know I'm going to have intercourse. Doing the prep work is important because if you do that, it basically kind of numbs you to a certain degree. And we know what prep work is. Let's be real. I'm not going to spell it out for you. But doing that kind of numbs you in a sense. And it's very effective. In regards to the lady I'm with now, in regards to that, it's very effective. You need to kind of calm yourself down to an extent. And being nervous is one I will go into later, but it takes away that sensitivity. I highly encourage that if you plan on not arriving in the first minute, with your significant other, I encourage that. But a couple of hours before you do it, just do your prep work. I recommend once or twice, but however many you need to to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, I encourage that. Moving right along here. What I think a lot of men think is that the private genitalia, I really do try to be PC. I fall out of the pocket sometimes, forgive me, but I try to be as PC as possible. Because I want everybody to be able to come and get this information. But the thing is, as far as the private area of the male, we need to stop thinking that's the only source of pleasure. That's not the only source of pleasure. You have a gang of damn tools at your disposal. When it comes to pleasuring a woman, there is the mouth, of course. Let's get grown up here for a second, shall we? There's the mouth, there's the tongue, and the mouth has multiple uses in and of itself. There's the tongue, there's the teeth, there's the lips, there's kissing and sucking on certain parts. So, utilize that. It's not all, we put so much stock into the male genitalia, we don't take advantage of all these other tools that can be used to arouse a woman. The hands. Okay, where do you put your hands? A lot of men don't believe in foreplay. They don't know how to do foreplay. They don't believe in dirty talk. Your verbal skills are a sexual tool. It's not just the genitalia. So when it's not working like it needs to, we immediately start to get nervous and doubtful of ourselves. We don't utilize these other tools at our disposal. You have a gang of tools that can sexually please the person that you're with. It's not just the genitalia. Like, we have to explore that, and then upon exploring that, and you'll be surprised, and I'll get into this later. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how much turning or pleasuring your partner is. You'll be surprised at how arousing that is, and as far as in the way of getting you up. You'd be surprised how arousing and gratifying that is. And getting your partner aroused and pleasing your partner. That's sexy. That's very sexy. A lot of men don't know that. A lot of men don't understand that. Women typically understand that. Women, y'all typically understand the pleasure in pleasing your mate. Men think that, the only way we can be pleased, we gotta be selfish, you gotta please me, and you gotta serve me. That's bullshit. And that's why I say the private part of a male isn't the only apparatus of pleasure to a woman. Get creative. Just have some ingenuity. You have to get creative. A part of the reason that it comes so fast is that you go straight into the sex part. See, here's the thing. The stigma is that women need to be warmed up, women need to be aroused and turned on, almost like an oven. You gotta warm that oven up before you can get to cook. But males need to be also. The thing is that males are taught that they don't. Males are taught, hurry up, put it in there and be done with it. If she enjoys it, fine. If not, who cares? You need to be warmed up too like that. And, I can tell you, if you take the time to really warm a female up like that, I'm being very graphic right now. If my family listens to this, I have to be honest. I'm sorry if you're blushing, but I gotta be real. if you take the time to warm a woman up and to really get her turned on and to arouse her and to put that work in by any means necessary. If you're not, and again, I said, if you're not cool with doing something, don't do it. But if you're willing to do something to turn that woman on and put in that work, even if you quote unquote arrive fast, 9 times out of 10 she's still going to be satisfied. It wasn't about the pounding and you having a hard penis and having just doing it all night and marathon. It didn't have to be about that. It's not all about that. Women like that too, yes, just like men like a woman come put it on. A woman to come put it on him and to ride that like it's no tomorrow. But the thing is, women are cool with the whole experience. Women are cool with more than just you putting it in there with your penis. Serious biz. Ask somebody. Ask a woman. They'll tell you. Now, the other reason I'm going to get into or the other solution rather to PE that I'm going to get into is if you're trying to not be as sensitive down there as you would like, is to drink wine. Now let me tell you why I pick wine instead of beer, instead of liquor and all that forms of alcohol. Right, so beer is like basically water. It's basically water. Yeah, I'm scratching the back of my head. My head itches. Gotta get some new shampoo up in this piece, but that's neither here nor there. But beer basically is water, so you're gonna pee a lot. Now, if you finally are able to consummate with that woman you've been striving to for so long, or that you're really feeling, the last thing you want to do is be like, babe, I gotta pee. Babe, I gotta go to the restroom. Babe, I'm sorry, I gotta stop. And let me tell you something, to go back to the erectile dysfunction, you having to pee will interfere with your erection. Yes, it will stop you from having an erection. I don't really recommend beer because it makes you pee too much. Now, hard liquors. I say drink a glass of wine, and even too much wine is bad, but hard liquors dehydrate you more quickly than wine does. If you're dehydrated, and let's go back to what I was talking about earlier as far as the omega-3s and lubricating your blood conveying system, your circulatory system, to be more scientifically correct. If you dehydrate yourself, your blood becomes thicker. I went to the doctor one time. I had food poisoning. I was throwing up, and I threw up in front of the doctor. Man, I threw up all over the floor, and they handed me a vomit bag. Oh my goodness, I was throwing up all over the place. I threw up on my kitchen floor before I went to the hospital, and I had diarrhea out the yin yang. You dig? I was dehydrated as shit. And I went into the doctor's office, and I'm telling them all this, and they hooked me up to an IV. Now, they were originally trying to get blood. They couldn't get the damn blood out my damn veins because it was so thick, because I had been dehydrated. I was pooping all over the place and vomiting. I was excreting fluids, and my bloodstream didn't have no damn fluids. They had to get the little baby IV popping off just to get some blood out my veins. It was that damn thick. Real talk. So that's why I say drink a glass of wine. Hard liquor, brown or clear, dehydrates the shit out of you. Wine is kind of it's an aphrodisiac in the sense that wine is not as harsh as liquor, but it doesn't make you pee all over the place like beer. A glass of wine will get you straight. I recommend just a glass. Don't be going up in no situation you done down 4 bottles of wine, you trying to perform. When you're younger, that's cool, but when you get older, wine actually, if you drink too much wine, it does the opposite effect of making you a little less sensitive, and you get that effect like I was talking about with the hard liquor. So don't do that. Don't drink too much. Just a glass of wine is enough. That's all you need. So moving right along here. My next point is stop being ashamed to be nervous or excited. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, fellas, if you've ever been with the woman of your dreams, the woman you've always trying to be with, the woman whom you pined over and have fantasized about over and over again, that one special lady, because it's different to have, women who you don't think that highly of. They're just some toss-up skeezers. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you're with the woman you've always wanted, the woman who is the jewel of your eye, and you finally get her in the bed, and you say, oh my gosh, to yourself, you psych yourself, oh my gosh, what if I screw up right now? I've always wanted her. I don't feel like I deserve her. I feel like I just don't even deserve to be, in the same room naked with this woman. You got to get that BS up out of your head. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with thinking highly of the lady that you're with and exalting her and thinking that she's gorgeous and thinking that she's royalty. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you start thinking that you're less than what the woman is. That's the problem. The problem is when you start putting the woman up on a pedestal. She's perfect. This is the highest achievement in life I could possibly achieve. A lot of the movies and stuff that we have here, especially here in America, they kind of preach that whole ideology. You need, the best you can get, the best you can achieve is having the woman of your dreams. And I'm here to tell you, you have to get that crap up out of your head. This woman that you're with, that is the woman of your dreams, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with, like you're saying, oh, this is the most compatible woman I've ever been with. I'm feeling her. She's captured my eye. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with falling in love with a woman and saying she compliments me and I compliment her. But the thing is, where that nervousness starts to come is when you start to place that woman in a higher regard than you. You start respecting that woman over respecting yourself. You and her are equally valuable human beings. Y'all are of the same value. You have to get that about your head that she's more valuable than you, or that you have to fulfill some kind of dissolution of grandeur. You have to fulfill this macho chauvinistic, I have to be man, I have to be perfect all the time. If I'm not perfect, that means I'm less than me. You have to get that crap out of your head. You're never going to have a successful sexual relationship with anyone with that kind of crap in your head. You're a human being, she's a human being, she's just as lucky as you are to be having sex. Period. So stop being ashamed of being nervous. If you're nervous, that's natural. You about to consummate with the most beautiful creature, most amazing creature on the face of the, as far as it being equal to you, but the most beautiful, amazing creature on the face of the planet. Okay, they're getting the same thing out of the deal. If you're nervous, fine. That's okay. They're probably nervous too. Y'all both in the same boat, especially when you're doing this the first time. If you're nervous, that's fine. You're butt naked with another human being who's butt naked. It's fine to be nervous. Just don't be ashamed to be nervous. It's okay. It's fine. It's normal. Recognize that it's normal, okay? And be open with whomever you're with. Say, hey, I'm kind of nervous, honestly. Like, you have been what I've been fantasizing about forever. 9 times out of 10, a woman can appreciate that. Oh man, he's nervous. I'm that gorgeous. He's that nervous because I'm that gorgeous. They can appreciate that. Fellas, you gotta be honest with women. Like, just be honest. There's no reason to lie. Women love honesty. They love trust and honesty and transparency over everything. You could be a whack-ass dude. As long as you're honest, the woman will respect you. So stop being ashamed of that. My last point I'll bring in regards to PE is men need to understand women aren't as judgmental about sex as men are. Which kind of goes into my last point. So the thing is, let's say you're having an episode of PE, and it happens to everybody. It's happened to me. Most definitely it's happened a couple of times. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm a human being. I have off nights just like females have off nights. That's okay. But let's say you're having an off night, and there's no particular reason. You might have got too drunk, like I've alluded to earlier. You might have drank too much. You might have been tired. You might have been whatever. You might have been worried about something. Women can respect you just being open and honest about it. Now, if you try to lie and say, well, this has never happened to me before, and, I'm always good, and this, you just try to lie and BS around it. You try to make up some type of excuse. Well, the house that we're having intercourse in, the color brown on the walls turns me out. You try to just lie about it. You try to say, well, it was your fault. You're the reason I can't get it. If you just try to BS, women can see straight through that. If you try to blame it on, well, I felt sick, women can see straight through the lies and the BS and deception. Women have a keen sense for nonsense. They have a very keen nose for that. Just be honest about it. Women can respect that. That doesn't mean just because you had an off night that they're never gonna want to have intercourse with you again. They can respect that. Hey, I'm tired as hell. Been up working all day and working, I've been working on this project. I've been at work. I've been at meetings. I'm just not feeling it tonight. It has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with how I feel. Women can say, all right, I respect that. There's no worries. Because with women, it's cool to have off days. With women talk about their feelings and they talk about their emotions. They do emotional temperature checks. Men don't do that at all. We just kind of bury things, bury stuff in a treasure chest and lock away the key, or lock it up and throw away the key. It's cool for women to have off nights. They don't feel some type of way like they're less of a woman. So they can respect that. They understand, we're human beings, yada yada. I had an off night. Don't lie about that though. Honesty is always the best policy. Honesty is always, 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 always the best policy with women. Don't lie, don't BS, don't beat around the bush. Even if it's something they don't like, women always respect honesty over nonsense. Even if it's some shit they don't like, they can at least respect you. Always be honest. if you're going through something, hey, man, I drunk too much. I've been in situations like that, man. The situations, man, I had too damn much to drink. We ain't gonna be able to do it at night. We ain't gonna be able to do it tonight. I'm sorry. I'm too damn messed up. I done had too much to drink. Damn. I'm gonna be real with you. They can be like, oh, I respect that. That's cool. And then we went on to do it later on when I was on top of my game. There's never a justified reason to lie. Always be honest. Like I said, with females, and they can understand and respect that. They're not gonna just throw you most of the time. You're some superficial ass chick, then maybe. But most of the time, they can respect that, even if y'all are just doing something. Y'all are just boyfriend, girlfriend, and y'all ain't reached that fiance marriage level. Women can respect that if they're really feeling you. If you got a cool personality and you're cool as hell, they can kind of look past that. Alright, he had a bad night. Let me give him another chance. And if you come at it that way and stop being so fragile with the ego and if I don't perform every time, I'm not a real man and I'm just less than worth than nothing, then I mean, man, if you start coming from that, then that's when they're like, the worst thing you could do is that let's say you had let's say you kind of arrived too quickly. Hey, I had an off night, I came too fast, my bad. Let's say you had an off night and that's what happened, and you start kind of beating yourself up. I suck, I'm the worst ever. This has never happened to me before, but it's totally my fault and I suck and I hate myself for this. You start getting real dramatic. That's what turns them off. And that's what makes them not want to mess with you no more. That's what makes them look at you kind of funny style. Like, what the hell is wrong with this dude, man? I'm good. I'm cool. Let me not talk to this dude no more. Women want confidence, even in your failures. Alright, I screwed up. I don't care. Whatever. That's in the past. We moving on. Let's keep it pushing. That's what women want. They don't want no kind of man who's just acting all super dramatic and all that. Just if you had an off night, own it. Hey, I messed up. Wasn't coming with it tonight. Let's try it again some other time. For sure. Women can get behind that all day and all night. Anyways, that's been this episode of the Levels of Love Tips. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you everybody who has already donated, who's already subscribed. I have a PayPal subscription service. Feel free to subscribe to that. It helps me out immensely so I can get better equipment, so I can start doing more video presentations, so I can start doing more live podcasts where I can take calls. I would love to take calls. I want to hear from all my listeners. Thank you all, everybody out there who supported thestormreport.com or rootofalllove.com. And if you look in this description of this video on my YouTube or any platform I have this video on, I have my PayPal. Please feel free to subscribe to that or to contribute to that. A monthly contribution means the world to me. $2 or $5, whatever you want to pick, but also just any contribution you can make as a one time. $2, $5, $6, I don't care. Every little bit helps. I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to speaking with all of you very soon. Definitely check out my merchandise. I have 2 published books. I'm actually working on my 3rd, 4th, and 5th book all at the same damn time. But I have 2 published materials, and also I have a 3rd published piece, which is basically a guidebook on how to deal with systematic racism that anybody can follow. White, black, Latino, don't even matter. Like, let's figure out how we're going to deal with this system of white supremacy. With that being said, I'm signing off. The Storm Report. I'll holler at all y'all later. Peace.
Out.